What you see in my hand right now is an extremely rare developer-only plant in Grow a Garden. It is called a pink tulip, and I'm pretty sure admins don't even have access to this thing, as its backstory is so insane. However, that's not all though, as I also managed to get my hands on a lemon, one of the rarest crops players could obtain of all time. However, even with this lemon, I'm still not done, as here's an image of a player holding a blue lollipop, another extremely rare developer-only crop, as well as that same player holding a cherry blossom, which is just as rare if not rarer than the lemon I have. How did we manage to get these extremely rare crops in Grow a Garden? Well, I'll be explaining everything you need to know about all of these unique plants inside of this very video. We have got a lot to discuss today, including how you yourself might be able to obtain these crops. So, with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so let's take a little detour to the first admin-only plant I managed to obtain, that being the purple cabbage. I already made a pretty long video over this thing, but as a quick summary, a user by the name of Tanuka reached out to me asking if I wanted to see it in his garden and obtain it for myself, and naturally, I obviously agreed. Now, Tanuka is back at it again, showing me and letting me obtain other rare crops, only this time they brought along a friend. Dear viewers, meet Coolified, the other user helping me showcase these crops for this video. I'll be leaving a link to both of these individuals' channels in the pinned comments, but something you should know specifically is that Coolified is the sole owner of the very rare blue lollipop crop. Now, if you are a Grow a Garden veteran, as in you've been playing this game for a very long time, you may recognize this blue lollipop as a recolor of the red lollipop item found in the Easter event, and that is a 100% correct assumption. The way the story goes is that it originally was going to be purchasable in the Easter shop alongside the red lollipop. However, it eventually was scrapped in favor of the red lollipop, leaving the blue version just to sit in the game unused. I'm not entirely sure how Coolified managed to get their hands on one, and I don't think I even want to know, as it does seem a little fishy. But that doesn't matter, as they sit as one of the sole owners of Grow a Garden's rarest plant, which I'm pretty sure is this blue lollipop, as even I couldn't get my hands on one, which just goes to show how limited their quantity is. However, there is actually another crop in a very similar situation as the blue lollipop, one that I actually was given generously by Tanuka, and that is the pink tulip. Thanks, Tanuka. As you are probably aware, the orange tulip is one of the most common early game crops players can obtain from the seed shop alongside the carrot and tomato. However, there exists an extremely rare version of it that is pink in color, obviously called the pink tulip. Through normal means, this plant is unobtainable in-game, yet I managed to get a hold of one because Tanuka offered me one, so thanks for that, dude. According to rumors, similar to how the blue lollipop was planned to be added to the Easter event before being scrapped, the pink tulip was originally going to be obtainable in the B event, but 2 was cut from the game prior to the event's release. However, unlike the orange tulip, the pink tulip does actually still have some value in the sell shop. If we take a look at its sell price, we can see that it's worth a fair bit of money. Not a crazy amount, but definitely a lot of early game currency. In this sense, the pink tulip could have once been a useful crop for early game players to make money from, but now its rarity makes it absolutely priceless and one of a kind. However, you know what else is priceless and also sells for an insanely high amount of money, even more than this pink tulip? The lemon. Now, Grow Garden actually introduced 2 secret plants a while back that only a limited amount of players actually obtained, and one of those was the lemon. For a period of 2 days, players who purchased tomato seeds with Robux and only with Robux would instead be given a lemon seed. Due to how the item couldn't be purchased with in-game currency and how the window to actually obtain it was so small, not a lot of players got a hold of the plant, making this crop one of the rarest actually obtainable plants in the entire game. This rarity, however, seems to be reflected in its sell price, which isn't a trait of a lot of other plants I've previously mentioned, as if we take a look at a small lemon's value, we can see the item is worth 100,000 in-game currency. That is crazy good, especially if the item only costed a few Robux. So if a player managed to obtain a bunch of these, then they could be very, very rich. Still, the lemon is pretty rare, so it's not often you'll see someone with one in their garden. Thank you, Tanuka, for giving me one of these as well. However, there does actually exist an even rarer plant that functions just like the lemon, and that is the cherry blossom. Much like how the lemon could have been obtained by purchasing a tomato seed for Robux, the cherry blossom could have been obtained by purchasing a strawberry seed for Robux. But the window of time players could actually get it was significantly smaller, with some sources saying the crop could have only been purchased for a mere 20 minutes. Tanuka and Coolified both own one of these crops, and given how they couldn't provide even me with one, unlike the previous crops I've shown you guys, you know this thing is insanely hard to come across. Unfortunately, I don't know anything about the item's sell price, but given how it is rarer than a lemon, which already was worth quite a bit, I assume this crop could sell for hundreds of thousands in the sell shop. This makes the cherry blossom not only the rarest obtainable plant in Grow Garden, but potentially one of the most profitable, which is a pretty cool fact. Now, although those are all of the admin-only crops as well as the extremely rare crops I wanted to show you today, the question still remains of how you viewers can obtain them. The method of how Tanuka and Coolified got these crops is a heavily guarded secret, so I highly doubt you'll get them the same way as they did, and it might even be a little risky, so I don't think you'd even want to try their method. But you could obtain these crops through player trading, similar to how I did. If other individuals exist out there who own lemons, cherry blossoms, or any other rare crop mentioned in this video, including the purple cabbage, which does exist in the same boat as the pink tulip and blue lollipop, they may be willing to sell the crop for other items in the game, like valuable pets, or just a bunch of in-game currency. In this sense, if you know where to look, you might be able to trade for these extremely rare crops. But other than that, these things are basically unobtainable for the majority of players. I do wonder though if they will be reintroduced into the game as actually obtainable crops, but as of right now, it is very hard to get your hands on one of these. Anyways, before I end off this video, I wanted to give a big thanks to both Tanuka and Coolified for showcasing me these rare plants for this video, as well as giving me some to show all of you guys more closely, as it is really interesting to see how much content can be cut from Grow a Garden, yet still obtainable by breaking the game. At least I think Tanuka and Coolified broke the game. I don't know how they got these crops, and I don't really want to know. Who knows, maybe you viewers could be lucky enough to get a copy of these plants yourselves if you trade for it, or receive it as a gift from someone. Again, make sure you check out both Tanuka and Coolified's channels, which will be located in the pinned comments of this video. And while you are down there, let me know what you think of these extremely rare plants, including if you trade valuable items in order to get your hands on one. So, with all of that being said, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.